We've got plenty of bead creations for every hour, so here's a bracelet just for you that looks like flowers. These flower bead bracelets are the perfect fine bead design. Different from others, you'll appreciate the switch. It's a creative but simple bead bracelet that uses the technique of the peyote stitch. With a design like this, you'll make one or even a pair, as you'll definitely want these to wear and share. So get ready for this tutorial to satisfy your creative needs. Feel free to give this video a like and enjoy this episode of TurboBeads. Here's a list of everything you need to make the Peyote Stitch flower bead bracelet. Before starting this project, I'm just letting you know that I'm using Omniflex high strength 15-pound fishing line. It's a string that comes in a 500-yard spool. It's a transparent string that works great for Peyote Stitch designs, high in strength but low in price. With that being said, I'm just keeping you informed and letting you know that this is a personal choice. This is not a sponsored video. Making the flower bracelet should be pretty easy. The first thing we'll need to do is make some flowers. So we'll take 1 foot of string and we're going to match up the ends. Then we're going to add a white bead on each end of the string, just as you see here. Once you have those beads on the string, feel free to let them fall to the bottom. Then we're going to take a gold bead and we're going to add it to both strings, just like this, letting that bead fall to the bottom as well. Next, we can take both ends of string again and add a white bead to each end of the string, just like this. And once again, we'll let those beads fall to the bottom of that string. Push those beads towards each other to ensure that they stay in a tight formation. Now that we have those beads on the string, at this point we can tie both ends of string together with a square knot, locking all of those beads into place. Be sure when tying your string together that your knot is tied nice and secure to ensure that everything stays together. Now that that string is tied and our beads are all locked into place, this is what it should look like. From here, we'll have 2 ends of string of equal lengths to use. So what we'll do is we'll take one end of the string and run it back through the closest bead on the top row, pulling that string all the way through to set us up for the next steps. Now we'll take one white bead and we're going to add it to that string that we have for that top row. So go ahead and add that bead to that string, just as you see here. Once you have that bead on the string, then we're going to run that string through the next bead on the end here. Watch close as I guide the string to this bead. When you get that string through that bead, pull it all the way through and that bead that was added will stack right into place, filling in the gap. Now we'll need to fill in the gap for the bottom row. So we'll use the other end of string and run it back through the closest bead here on the bottom row, getting that string through that bead, pulling it all the way through to set us up for the next step. So from here, we'll take that same end of string and we're going to add a white bead to that string. Once we have that bead on the string, we'll run that string to the next bead on that row, which is this bead here on the end. Get that string through that bead, pull it all the way through, and the bead that was added will stack right into place, filling in the gap. Now that we have both ends of string coming out of these 2 beads here on the end, we'll tie both ends of string together with a square knot to lock all of those beads into place. As I've mentioned before, when tying your string together, be sure that your knot is tied nice and secure to ensure that everything stays together. Once that string is tied and everything is locked into place, now you'll just carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string. As you can see, we've created a Peyote Stitch flower. This is exactly how it should look. From here, we'll need to create 5 more of these flowers that will be chained together to make the bracelet. That's a total of 6 flowers. So once you've created the 6 flowers, we're ready to link them all together to make the bracelet. So for this next part, I'm just letting you know that I'll be using Drit's elastic stretch string. It's a thick elastic string that's perfect for beading and creating bracelets. It's another high quality durable string that's low in price and high in strength. So again, I'm just keeping you informed and letting you know that this is a personal choice. It's not a sponsored video. So now that we're ready to make the flowers into a bracelet, the first thing we'll need is 3 feet of elastic stretch string. Then we'll need to match up both ends of string, just like this. From here, we'll take 1 bead flower, then we'll run each end of string through a bead here on the end of that flower. So just watch close as I guide the string through these beads. With this visual, you'll see exactly what I mean by running the string through these beads. Again, It's each end of string through a separate bead on the end of that bead flower. Once you have both ends of string through those beads, you'll match up each end of string, then you'll pull that string all the way through, and this will keep that remaining elastic stretch string hidden within those beads. As you can see it here, this is exactly how it should look. So from here, we should have each end of string coming out of the two beads on the end of this flower. We can now add beads to that string that will divide the flowers. You'll see that we're filling in the space in between the flowers to fill out the bracelet as well. So you'll go ahead and match up both ends of string and add 3 green beads to that string, just like this. Once you have those beads on the string, you'll push those beads toward the bottom, coming together with the bead flower. This is what it should look like so far. As I've mentioned before, these 3 green beads will act as a spacer in between the flowers of this bracelet. So now we're ready to add a flower to that string. What you'll do is you'll take one end of the string and run it through a flower, through a bead on the end, then the middle bead, and out of the bead in the end. So just watch close as I guide the string through these beads. With this visual, it should be clear to see the path I've used to run the string through these beads. When doing this, be sure to take your time, ensuring that you've gone through the correct beads, making sure that that string doesn't get caught or hung up on any other beads. That way, the string will stay hidden within those beads. Once you have that string through that flower, you'll pull both ends of that string, and this will hide the remaining string. With one end of the string through that flower, we'll need to do the same once again with the other end of string. Go ahead and run that string to the bead here on this end. When you get that string through that bead, you'll run that string to the bead in the middle. Now that you get that string to that bead in the middle, you'll run that string to the next bead here on the end. Continue watching as I guide the string through this bead. Once you get that string through that bead, remember to pull both ends of that string, keeping that string hidden within those beads of that flower. Now that you have both ends of string through that bead flower, we can match up both ends of string, pushing that flower toward the other beads until they all come together. Be sure to pull the string just enough, keeping those beads in a tight formation. This is what it should look like. With each end of string coming out of the beads here on this flower, we're ready to add more beads to the string, which will divide the next flower. We'll go ahead and match up both ends of string, adding 3 green beads to those strings, just like this. Just like we've done before, when you get those 3 beads on those strings, you're going to push those beads toward the others, bringing everything together. Now that we've added these 3 beads to the string that act as a spacer, we're ready to add on a flower for the next. Just like we've done before, we'll take one end of the string and run that string through a bead flower using this path, starting with the bead here on this end, then going through the bead in the middle. Once you get that string to that bead in the middle, then you'll run that string through the next bead, which will be the bead here on this end. Just like we've done before, once you get that string through that bead flower, you'll pull both ends of the string, keeping the remaining string hidden within those beads. With one end of that string through that bead flower, we can now take the other end of string and run it to that flower as well, pretty much using the same path as you see here. Again, continue watching as I guide the string through these beads, giving you a clear visual reference of where to run the string through. Remember, once you get that string through those beads, be sure to pull both ends of that string, keeping the remaining string hidden within those beads. With both ends of string through that bead flower, you can match up both ends, pushing that bead toward the other beads, bringing everything together. Remember to pull both ends of the string just enough to keep those beads in a tight formation. From here, we'll just continue repeating the same steps by adding beads and bead flowers to the string until we've added enough beads on that string to fit around your wrist. As you should know, everyone's wrist sizes are different, so be sure that you adjust accordingly, as you may need more or less beads depending on the size of the wrist as well as the size of the beads. With this visual, you will notice as this bracelet is being assembled, you can see that the simple look is very appealing, with its pattern of white bead flowers and a spacing of 3 green beads in between that create the look of a stem or vine that daisy chain all of these flowers together. As you already know, there's always different colors that you can use to create this design, so leave a comment below letting me know what colors and combinations you decide to use to create your bracelet. Now that you've added enough beads to the string that'll fit around your wrist, this is what it should look like. You'll have 1 bead flower on one end and 3 green beads on the other. So in order to link everything together, we'll need to run the string through the first flower that was added to the string. So first, let's go ahead and take one end of the string and run it through the first flower that was added on that string. We'll run that string through this white bead on this end of the flower. Now we can take the other end of string and run it through one bead of that flower as well. Watch close as I guide the string through this bead. Once you get both ends of the strings through those beads, you'll match up both ends, pulling the string all the way through, and both ends of the bracelet should come together. As a quick reminder, be sure to pull that string just enough to keep those beads in a tight formation. From here, we'll tie both ends of string together with a square knot to lock all of those beads into place. Again, when tying your string together, be sure that your knot is tied nice and secure to ensure that everything stays together. Once your string is tied and everything is locked into place, all that is left is to carefully cut off the tied loose ends of string, and your flower bead bracelet is now complete. And there you have it, another fine bead bracelet design that was fast, fun, and easy to make. Hopefully this tutorial was helpful and you can create one just as great. If there's anything you would like to add, requests, or suggestions, feel free to leave a comment below. And if you are new or you just haven't already, don't forget that you can always subscribe if you want to be notified for more bead tutorials just like this one. Hoping you'll tune in for the next one to satisfy your creative needs. Until next time, as always, be sure to wear it and share it. Thanks for watching TurboBeads.